Okay, so good morning, students. So today we will be discussing, or you can say we will continue our discussion with the uniqueness theorem. Okay, that we have started in the last class. So before uniqueness theorem, we have discussed about the Poisson's and Laplace equation. Okay. Now, as per the statement of uniqueness theorem, it tells that the solution to the Laplace equation, that means whenever you will be solving this equation, if you solve it and it satisfy the boundary condition, okay, so that means you are solving a Laplace equation by different methods. Suppose you are solving a Laplace equation by different methods and it satisfies the same boundary conditions, that means the boundary conditions are same, then it is called that it is having only one solution. Okay, irrespective of the different methods. So if you are using two methods, that means you will be getting the same solution if it satisfies the boundary conditions. Okay, so it tells that any solution of the Laplace equation because any solution of the Laplace equation which satisfies the same boundary conditions must be the only solution regardless of the method used. Okay, so that means suppose we have a case where there are two solutions of Laplace equation, suppose V1 and V2. Okay, the two solutions are V1 and V2 of a Laplace equation, and both are satisfying the boundary conditions. That means the values of V1 and V2, okay, we are not judging whether they are equal or not, okay, because the solutions are suppose not numerical, they are just V1 and V2 solutions, okay, just two algebraic solutions, those values we are getting V1 and V2, and if they satisfy the boundary condition, okay, so it means that if it is satisfying the boundary conditions, so it comes to the conclusion that if the same boundary conditions have been satisfied by the two equations, suppose V1 and V2 are the solutions of Laplace equation, and if there are two different values, then the boundary conditions won't be satisfied for both the cases. Okay, so if the boundary conditions are satisfied, putting the same values, putting the different values, that means that those different values are not actually numerically different, they have to be same, because boundary condition is only existing for a single value, and if the two solutions of Laplace equation, okay, are actually justifying the or satisfying the same boundary condition, that means if you put V1 in the boundary condition, and you will see that it is satisfying the boundary condition. Okay, you will put V2 in the boundary condition, if it is not satisfying the boundary condition, that means V1 and V2 cannot be equal, so the solution of V2, whatever method is used, is wrong. Okay, but if V1 is suppose if V2 is also satisfying the boundary condition, so you can say that yes, V2 is satisfying this boundary condition. That means if you put the value of V1, then also you are getting the boundary condition satisfied. If you put the V2, boundary condition can be anything. Suppose in dielectric, we know that tangential components of the electric field intensity are equal, and for the normal component of electric flux density are equal. So that means we will have only one solution of tangential component of electric field intensity. We cannot have two solutions of tangential component of electric field intensity. That means ET can be only one solution. So if you are putting that value in ET and it is satisfying that E1t is equals to E2t, and by putting V2 value also you are getting E1t equals to E2t, so that means V1 value and V2 value are actually same, otherwise the boundary condition will not be satisfied. Okay, so suppose we consider that there is a difference between V2 and V1. Okay, so if V2 and V1 are not different values, then there will be some difference. If they are not equal values, there will be some difference between them, isn't it? V2 minus V1, you will get some solution Vd. Okay, but if you put in the, that means we are assuming that V2 and V1 are not equal, because V2 and V1 is not two numerical solutions. Suppose example, the value of V1 is say 3x unit vector y, suppose. Okay, and V2 is 4y unit vector y. So we don't know that what is the value of x and what is the value of y. So we don't know that V1 and V2 are equal or not. So suppose we say that V2 and V1 are different. Difference is Vd. Okay. Now, which obeys the fact that if you are taking the Laplacian operator, okay, the Laplacian equation means this one, Laplacian equation, this one, the del square of V potential will be 0. The del square of potential will be 0. So if you put the same thing, over here, the del square of V is equals to 0. Then if you see that if they are equal, then they will be 0. If they are not equal, they won't be 0. Okay. But if by any means they are equal, they will be giving us 0 value. So if they are giving us 0 value, that means Vd is actually 0. Okay. So if this del square V2 minus del square V1 is equals to 0, then it indicates, therefore, okay, indicates that Vd is automatically 0. If they are not 0, then Vd is not 0. Okay. So if they are, that means if V1 and V2 are equal, if V1 and V2 are equal, then only you will get this equals to 0 actually. अगर तो इक्वल होगा तभी ये इक्वल्स टू 0 होगा. अगर इक्वल टू नहीं है तो भी कभी 0 नहीं आएगा. तो ऑटोमेटिकली Vd का वैल्यू कुछ आएगा. So that means if this equation is 0, that means Vd is 0, so V1 and V2 are equal. So which means 3x unit vector y equals to 4y unit vector y. Okay, so which means that 3x is equals to 4y. So that means x is equals to 4 by 3y. Some relation will be there. Okay. So according to this 9 equation, that means this equation 9, V1 and V2 are equal. So applying the divergence theorem means the theorem where we can replace the volume integral to a closed surface integral of a vector. So let B, this is just an, you can say, proof for that. So let A is equals to Vd del V, gradient of V, Vd. Okay. And use a vector identity that del operator, that is divergence of A. Suppose A is a vector and it is equals to Vd. Vd means this difference of V2 minus V1. Vd gradient of Vd, suppose. And you are finding the divergence of A. So it will be divergence of Vd gradient of Vd. Okay. So now vector identity says that if you are having divergence of any vector, okay, of any vector which is scalar Vd, because Vd is a scalar. But if you are taking the divergence of Vd, then automatically it will become a vector, because you know that gradient operator is applied on a scalar and the output is a vector. Okay, so Vd is scalar. Why? Because potential is scalar. Now Vd is nothing but the difference between two potentials, V2 and V1. Okay, so hence this entire thing is a vector. So this is a scalar, and divergence of a scalar gives you a vector. So any scalar with just a multiplication with a vector means it is a vector. Okay, because Vd can be anything. Suppose Vd, if there is a difference, because V1 and V2 are not 0, okay, So VD is some positive value. Okay, suppose VD is value is suppose any particular value, suppose 4.7 VD. Okay, VD is 4.7. So 4.7 multiplied by divergence of VD, not 4.7, suppose 4.7x. Okay, 4.7x. So 4.7x divergence of 4.7x. Okay, so it will become a vector. Okay, so if this is a situation, then using the vector identity we can conclude this. Okay, we can write this because this is under the vector identity. But if the del square of VD is equals to 0, okay, if it is equals to 0, because we don't know that it is equals to 0 or not, but if it is equals to 0, then VD is equals to 0. Okay, so automatically what will happen, this VD portion will become 0. Okay, but that doesn't mean that gradient of VD will be not there. Gradient of VD is there, just for theoretical purpose, because we are deriving this in theory. It may sound confusing that if VD is 0, then why divergence gradient of VD is not 0, because we are just taking this as a theoretical part. Just in theory, if del square VD is 0, then VD will be 0. Okay, and if VD is 0, then this portion will become 0. Okay, so the first term will become 0. So whatever remaining term is, that is divergence of A is equals to gradient of V dot gradient of V. Okay, now substituting equation number 13. So
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Sir, can you explain it once again?
What? Which one?
That gradient of A is equals to
Or this one?
gradient.
No,
Yeah,
not.
this.
Okay, this is divergence, not gradient. Okay, I'm explaining. Divergence theorem, uniqueness theorem says that if you are having two solutions, suppose V1 and V2 are two solutions, but if you put them into the that particular boundary condition and they are satisfying the boundary condition, that means they are not different, they should be equal, because a boundary condition is only exist for only one solution. Because if you put a solution, if you put a value, suppose this value, suppose 3x unit vector y, if you put this value in the boundary, then we will get the boundary condition. If I explain once in this way, suppose in the dielectric boundary condition, we have seen that E1t is equals to E2t. Okay, this we have seen, and D1n is equals to D2n. This we have seen. Okay, these are the two boundary conditions. So this E1t is equals to E2t. That means the tangential component of electric field intensity in medium 1 is equals to the tangential component of electric field intensity in medium 2. They should be equal. Okay, that they are equal. This is the condition. So any particular vector E, okay, will have one tangential component and one normal component. Vector summation. Okay, vector summation. This is ET, this is EN, and this is E. Okay, vector summation. Now there is only if one value of ET, because if there is one value of E, okay, suppose E is suppose 3x, okay, plus 4y plus 7z. Okay, these are unit vector, suppose x, unit vector y, unit vector z. Okay, it is told that tangential component is x-axis. Suppose this is x-axis, so this one will be the tangential component ET. This is the tangential component ET. Oh, sorry. Wait. Let me write once again. It will be confusing otherwise. Okay. Sorry, it is not x-axis. It is actually y-axis. Okay, so I'm repeating once again. Suppose this E vector is say 5x or unit vector x, okay, plus 4x unit vector y. Yes, x can be there because it is a variable, but unit vector y means the y-axis, plus 7xy unit vector z. Okay, so it is told that this is the y-axis. So tangential component is along the y-axis. So this is the, sorry, this is 3, suppose this is 3. So 3x unit vector y is the tangential component, suppose. Okay, this is the tangential component. So it will have only one solution. Okay, but if you are having another solution which is also satisfying the same thing, that 3y unit vector y, okay, if you put, then also you will see that this is satisfying. How it is possible? Because it is only possible if they are equal. If they are equal, then only it is possible. So somewhere 3x is equals to 4y, because x is equals to 4y by 3, 4 by 3y. Yes, 4y by 3. So that means 3x is the solution which can satisfy this boundary condition, but 4y can also satisfy this boundary condition, because they are all equal. So if they are equal, then there is no difference. Okay, so suppose previously, before doing the experiment, we don't know that 3x and 4y are equal. We don't know. So what we will do, we will consider that they are not equal and that there is a difference between them, which is Vd. Okay, now we don't have to check the boundary condition also. What we can do, if we find the Laplacian operator, okay, that is Laplacian equation, that is del square Vd. You get del square Laplacian operator. This was already explained in the Laplacian operator portion. Okay, जहाँ पर हमने gradient, divergence, curl और Laplacian operator हमने study किया था. Okay, वहाँ पर था कि Laplacian operator can be applied on a scalar also, on a vector also. Okay, so that particular property you have to apply, because Vd is a scalar, because the difference in the two potential will give you a scalar, because potential is a scalar. So if you apply the Laplacian operator, that is the del square Vd, and if it is non-zero, that means they are not equal. But if it is 0, because this is equals to del square V2 minus del square V1. If this is 0, that means they are equal. So Vd has to be 0. Okay. Now what we are doing, we are taking the equation in such a way that we again come to the conclusion in this way, that suppose del square Vd, we don't know that Vd is equals to 0 or not. हम लोग फिर से शुरू करते हैं. मान लो कि V1 और V2 दो सॉल्यूशन है बाउंड्री में, ठीक है. अब इक्वल है कि नहीं है हमको नहीं पता, हमको दो सॉल्यूशन मिला है. Okay, so forget about this 11 equation. Okay, so only concentrate about this equation number 10. So Vd and Vd is equals to V2 minus V1. Now we will take a vector A such that it is Vd gradient of Vd. Now gradient of Vd is a vector. Okay, because Vd is a scalar, so gradient of Vd will give you a vector, and if you multiply Vd with it, so it will again become a vector. Okay, so you are taking this vector, now you are taking the divergence of that vector. That means divergence of Vd del Vd. So if you solve this using the vector identity, you will get Vd del square Vd plus Vd dot Vd. Oh, sorry, del Vd, that is del Vd dot del Vd. Okay. Now, after that you apply them in the boundary condition, and after you apply the boundary condition, you find that Vd is 0. So if Vd is 0, that means del square Vd is 0. Or you can say, you can do the opposite thing, you don't apply in the boundary condition, you directly find the del square Vd. क्योंकि Vd 0 है कि नहीं, इसलिए बाउंड्री में हमको यूज करना नहीं है, बैठाना भी नहीं है, हम डायरेक्ट del square Vd करने से ये 0 आ जाएगा. ठीक है, अगर ये इक्वल हुआ तो हम लोग ने क्या किया, del square Vd किया. del square Vd करने के बाद देखा कि ये टर्म, ठीक है, ये टर्म जो है वो 0 हो गया एक्चुअली, बिकॉज दिस टर्म इज 0. So if this term is 0, so this term is also 0, Vd is also 0. So first term is becoming 0. So we will write divergence of A equals to del Vd dot del Vd. Okay, del Vd dot del Vd. Okay, so you will getting the 13th equation. Now what we will do, we will substitute this equation in इक्वेशन नंबर 12, इस वाले में डाइवर्जेंस थ्योरम में. कौन सा इक्वेशन, ये वाला डाइवर्जेंस ऑफ ए, इसको हम यहाँ पर यूज करेंगे. तो क्या होगा, वॉल्यूम इंटीग्रल ऑफ del vd dot del vd volume okay equals to a dot, that means the closed surface integral of a, तो a क्या है vd del vd, ठीक है. So now hence okay, so now what will happen from equation number 9 and 11, it is evident that the right hand side of the equation number 14 will vanish. Why it will vanish? क्योंकि ये जो इक्वेशन था इसने हमने देखा है कि डेल स्क्वायर वी डी जो है वो हमने कैलकुलेशन किया बाद में, उसके कैलकुलेशन के बाद हमको मिला है कि डेल स्क्वायर वी डी इज जीरो. सो इफ दिस इज जीरो, ओके, सो डेल वी डी दिस पार्ट विल बी ऑल्सो जीरो बिकॉज वी डी इज जीरो, बिकॉज डेल स्क्वायर वी डी जीरो मीन्स वी डी इज जीरो. तो ये अगर जीरो होता है तो वी डी अगर जीरो हो गया तो ये जो टर्म है ये जीरो हो जाएगा. तो अल्टीमेटली दिस इज जीरो. सो वॉल्यूमेट्रिकल ऑफ डेल वी डी डॉट डेल वी डी इज इक्वल टू जीरो. ओके, दिस वी कैन टेक, it vanishes. So hence we can say that if you multiply these two, इसको अगर डॉट प्रोडक्ट करेंगे तो क्या होगा? डॉट प्रोडक्ट करने से स्क्वायर आ जाएगा ना, ये स्क्वायर है, स्क्वायर टर्म है, तो डेल वी डी स्क्वायर डी वी इक्वल्स टू जीरो. ओके, इसको स्क्वायर करेंगे तो, इसको मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे तो, डॉट प्रोडक्ट करेंगे तो ये स्क्वायर हो जाएगा. ठीक है, क्योंकि ये एक्चुअली डॉट प्रोडक्ट है, ये कोई डाइवर्जेंस यूज कीजिए, डॉट प्रोडक्ट, सिंपल डॉट प्रोडक्ट, ये स्क्वायर हो गया. तो दिस इज द स्क्वायर. सो दैट मीन्स द वॉल्यूम इंटीग्रल ऑफ द स्क्वायर ऑफ डेल वी डी स्क्वायर, द स्क्वायर ऑफ डेल वी डी इज इक्वल टू जीरो. सिंस द इंटीग्रल इज ऑलवेज पॉजिटिव, अगर पॉजिटिव हमेशा रहेगा तो इसको सॉल्व करने से ये वी डी इक्वल टू डेल वी डी इक्वल टू जीरो आएगा. ठीक है, तो ग्रेडियंट ऑफ वी डी, दैट मीन्स ग्रेडियंट ऑफ वी डी, ओके, इट इज जीरो. दैट मीन्स वी डी इज इक्वल टू वी टू माइनस वी वन विच इज अ कॉन्स्टेंट, विच इज कॉन्स्टेंट एवरीवेयर. इसका मतलब है कि ये अगर जीरो हुआ, एक सेकेंड, okay, so as we was discussing that vd, this particular del vd is zero. तो हमने अभी तक क्या देखा है कि डेल स्क्वायर vd था, लैप्लेशियन इक्वेशन था, वो जीरो था, ठीक है, जिसके कारण vd का सोल्यूशन भी जीरो हो रहा है. ठीक है, लेकिन डेल vd जीरो नहीं भी हो सकता है. ओके, डेल vd may not be zero but it is coming to be zero. Because why? Because if vd is zero, del vd will obviously become zero. It is not possible. बिकॉज वी डी अगर जीरो है तो डेल वी डी भी जीरो ही आएगा. तो डेल वी डी का जीरो होना मतलब के इट इज अ लाइक अ कांस्टेंट एवरीवेयर. तो ये जीरो हमेशा कांस्टेंट रहेगा. ठीक है, इट विल रिमेन कांस्टेंट, इट विल नॉट चेंज. बिकॉज इफ वी डी इज जीरो, ओके, सो दिस इज एक्चुअली द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ ग्रेडियंट. ओके, इन द कॉन्सेप्ट, इन द फील्ड ऑफ gradient, that if a scalar is zero, then del operator, that means the gradient of the scalar, will also be zero. Okay, it is a zero because of vector, so it means that it is constant. So v2 minus v1 will be constant everywhere in v. That means it will be, you can say, if we are considering to be a voltage, so it will be concluded that it is a equipotential surface. That means if we are taking two surfaces, one surface actually, this is point number 1, point number 2, the potential at this is v1, this is v2, so if they are equals, that means the value of vd, voltage difference, is zero. Vd is nothing but the voltage difference, potential difference. Why? Because this is a equipotential surface, equipotential surface. Okay, so that means using this, because this is actually explaining the thing in two different ways. One second. Okay, so sorry for the interruption because there was some urgent call. That so again, if I recap it from where we have started, that the uniqueness theorem, it told that if you are having two solutions V1 and V2, and if they satisfy the boundary condition, then V1 and V2 will be equal. Okay, so this, so if you are not able to satisfy, if you are not able to apply the boundary, but if you want to know that whether it is satisfying the boundary condition or not, for that what we will do, we have an option that without applying in the boundary, if we directly solve the Laplacian equation, and if it is 0, then it is told that V1 and V2 are equal. Okay, V1 and V2 are equal. So suppose V1 and V2 are, if they are not equal, we don't know whether they are equal or not, so we will take the difference to be Vd, and we will take the Laplacian of that Vd. Okay, if the Laplacian of the Vd is 0, that means they are equal. This is one step. Another step is that we can use the divergence theorem to prove the same thing. In the divergence theorem, what we will do to prove this, we will take a vector. Okay, so this is the divergence theorem. So there has to be a vector A, but potential is not a vector, it is a scalar. So how can we convert a scalar into a vector? By using the gradient. So you will take Vd, gradient of Vd, to be the vector. Now you will find out the solution, because this is not a simple equation, so it will be it can be broken, or it can be simplified using the vector identity by using this equation. Now you will find the value of del square Vd. If del square Vd is 0, then this portion will be omitted, so you are having this equation. So if you put this equation, you will see that gradient of Vd is also 0. So gradient of Vd is also 0, so that means del square Vd is 0 and del Vd both are 0, so it confirms that Vd is 0. Okay, so that means it is constant everywhere, so it is an equipotential surface. So in an equipotential surface, then only the boundary conditions will be same everywhere. Okay, so Vd is 0, so V1 and V2 are equal everywhere, showing that V1 and V2 cannot be different solutions of the same problem. So they have to be equal solution, because they are equal potential in the same surface. Okay. So general procedure for solving the Poisson's equations or Laplace equation is that the following general procedure may be taken in solving the given boundary value problem involving the Poissons of the Laplace equation. Okay, so solve the Laplace equation. Okay, first step is solve the Laplace equation, that is rho v equals to 0, or Poisson's equation if rho v not equals to 0, because this one. Okay, so this is the Poisson's equation. Okay, this one. Poisson's equation is this one. This equation is Poisson's equation. The del square v equals to minus rho v by epsilon. If rho v, that means if no charge is there, then the same Poisson's equation becomes the Laplace equation. Only difference is there, in Poisson's equation we have charge, so it is not equals to 0, is actually minus rho v by epsilon. Rho v is the volume charge density, but in a charge free medium, the same Poisson's equation becomes the Laplace equation. Okay, so this is step number 1. Okay, so equation, so solve these equations, okay, using either direct integration when v is a function of one variable, okay, or you can find out by separation of variables if v is a function of more than one variable. So you can either use the direct integration method or by using the separation of the values, okay, or the variables. The solution at this point is not unique but expressed in terms of unknown integration constants to be determined. So what happens if you integrate them, okay, if you find the integration, then you will see that you will find solutions with some constant term. So you will get confused whether these equations are equal or the solutions are equal or not. For that you have to go for the del square v, that means the Laplace equation, okay. Applying the boundary condition to determine a unique solution for v, imposing the given boundary conditions. Having obtained v, find e using this solution, okay, or using the equation, and d from this equation. That means for boundary condition, if you have value of v only, so from v you can find e, and from e you can find d, okay. Then you have to proceed accordingly. So if desired, they find the charge q induced on a conductor using this surface integral value, okay, where rho s is equals to dn, and dn is the component of d normal to the conductor. So where you are getting this equation? We are getting this equation in the boundary condition of conductor and dielectric. So this is the fourth step, is for that particular case where you have a boundary of conductor and dielectric. In that case you will be using this equation. If you want to find capacitance, then you can do this, okay. This is just the steps, okay, for practical solutions, okay. We will also see some numericals related to this later. So solving Laplace or Poisson's equation as in step 1 is not always as complicated as it may seem. In some cases the solution may be obtained by mere inspection of the problem. So that means in this case we can see that if charge is not there, okay, rho v is 0, with no concept of charge is there, so automatically we know that it is Laplace equation. So if charge is not there, then electric field intensity will not be there, okay, and electric field intensity not there, so potential is not there. So it is not always necessary that we have to go for the theoretical calculation every time. So but just seeing the problem also we can conclude so many things without doing the work, okay. So also solution may be checked by going backward and finding out if it satisfies both Laplace or Poisson's equation and prescribed boundary conditions. So in the next slide, okay, so we will be discussing some numericals, okay. So after this solving the numericals, it will be clearer to you. So what is actually the application of the concept of Poisson's and Laplace equations. So there are a few numericals, we will discuss this in the later class, okay, next class, because now we don't have too much time, okay. So this is a little bit, you know, theoretical explanation regarding the Poisson's and Laplace equation, okay. So this thing you have to study once again. If you feel any problem, you can ask me, and the thing will be much more clearer to you if I explain you the numerical in the next class. I think then other confusions will also be cleared, okay. So any questions up to here, then you can ask me. I know that this particular subject is a little bit means related to physics and mathematics also, both, okay. So you have to study them because it is very less related to electrical. So only concept is that potential and electric flux density, these terminologies are there, okay. But this is actually quite advanced because in communication signals, okay, this electromagnetic field theory are very important, because without this study of electromagnetic field theory you will not be able to do work in those areas, okay. So in transmission lines also, you will be seeing later on, there is a chapter where transmission lines, where electromagnetic waves are used in transmission lines, that concept is also there. So not only voltage and current, but voltage and current in the form of electromagnetic waves, because in practical situation, whenever there is a fault in any due to any particular hazardous condition, short circuit fault, overcurrent fault, okay, whatever fault, so or lightning fault, so the current or the voltage travels in the form of an electromagnetic wave. So the study of this nature of the electromagnetic wave is very important. For that, we have to study what is electromagnetic wave actually. Then only you can analyze the electromagnetic wave nature of current. Okay. So this electromagnetic wave concept is basically built upon 4 Maxwell's equations. Okay. And 2 have already we have studied, and later on we will be studying mode 2 when we come across the magnetic field, because till now we have done the electrostatic field portion, and when we will be studying the magnetic field just after this, because this electrostatic field is almost over, we will be introducing to the magnetic field. Then the combination of electromagnetic field, it will help us to study the nature of the any signal. Okay, basically current or voltage. Okay, so then thank you students for up to here. We will continue in the next class. Okay, if you have any problem, you can ask. Hello, am I audible? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay, who was asking previously that one portion? I've repeated that. So now have you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I will share the notes by today in the Google Classroom. You must follow that. Okay.
And sir,
Ah,
and regarding that second internal, what is the portion?
what is the portion?
Yeah.
Okay, so that I have not decided yet. Okay, so there is still time left. So I will tell you in the next week. Okay, in the next class.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So thank you.